Welcome to this week's installment of the 2-Minute Drill. With us, as always, is Nichols head coach Dale Olmsted. The Bison are coming off their second conference win in a row, a 43-35 win over Curry. Coach, talk about the game. You guys got down early, kept fighting back, and eventually pulled it out.
Yeah, as I said, leading up to our game versus Coast Guard, I thought that would have been a program game. Like, that was a conference game I thought we could battle with. We won. I thought that was a great, sort of a benchmark for our program until this week. The adversity our kids faced, everything that went well for us in the Coast Guard game did not go well with us in the Curry game. We're down 14-0 early. Special teams, defense, offense was all struggling. 21-7 with about 4 minutes to go before half until we kind of got things clicking. Went on a nice drive. I think scored with about 30 seconds to go to cut it to 21-14. We get the ball to start the second half. We go right down and score. We recognize that we might be able to get a 2-point conversion based on that way they were playing our kind of swinging gate. And sure enough, we called it, and we executed it, and we finally took the lead at 22-21. And sure enough, ensuing kickoff, 95 yards down for Curry for a touchdown. And then they scored again. So here we are down 35-22, midway through the third quarter. Things aren't looking great, but again, kids are staying focused. They're doing what they need to do, and we get a couple of breaks here and there, and before you know it, we tie it up, we score. We're down 6, score again and take the lead. So again, it was. I think the difference between this ball club and the previous ball club is that no matter whether we're up or down, with that youth that we have there, it doesn't affect them. I love the composure. They did a great job. Again, in the end, it was a team effort, but certainly for me, that was the most impressive one I've had since I've been here.
We talked after the Coast Guard game about finishing games, and maybe that could have been a larger margin of victory had this been a more experienced team. Last week's game against Curry, you guys had, I believe, 2 turnovers in their territory. So you'd driven down the field, had a couple of turnovers, which might deflate, again, a younger team, an experienced team, but you overcame those as well.
Yeah, again, like these guys, I don't know, maybe our coaching staff's done a pretty good job of just saying don't focus on the score, especially when we're down. We just have kids that compete each and every week, and you can see it in practice. The offense is pushing one another to the defense. They do a good job now. We've kind of done a green-white type scrimmage throughout the course of the week. So I think the challenge has been there, set in practice, and I think the kids are responding. Again, I keep their composure, as you said, with all the things that didn't go our way, but just to stay focused, and good things happen. So we're very proud.
One more thing on Curry's game. 2 different types of victories. The Coast Guard game, you guys got the early lead, the 21-0, and kind of held on to an extent. This game, you guys were down 2 scores twice, in the first and also in the third quarter, and came back to win. So 2 different types of victories.
Right.
It definitely helps a young team that's learning how to win.
Absolutely, yeah. As I said, Coast Guard, we controlled it from the get-go, but then kind of lost grips of things, because I think that's what you kind of get with the young team. And but we managed to beat Coast Guard. But this one here, as you said, was a great win. The way that these kids just never quit, they kept the composure, and I think that's part of the culture that we're creating. Is that once you're down, as long as there's time left on that clock, we're still alive, and I think they proved that last week.
Football's obviously a team sport, but you've had a lot of individual accolades the last couple of weeks. Last week was no exception. Chris Mullins had a record-setting day at the quarterback position. Tony Martignoli with 17 receptions up in the wideout spot. And Matt McEvely, who, while we didn't have any weekly honors last week, he's also in the top 15 in the nation in tackles per game. So talk about the efforts. You get some freshmen stepping up, and then you've got the senior leadership.
Yeah, no, I definitely would start with, Matt, the senior leadership that brings to the team, because like I said, what you see on the field is just, 2 hours worth of work leading up to that. And guys like Matt in the senior class has really done a nice job of keeping these guys in check. And I think we have a great chemistry this year. And again, it has to do with the upperclassmen. When kids get to camp, what you can and cannot do is a huge part of our success, in my mind. So again, to have Matt do what he's been able to do, and again, it's the best conditioned he came in this year, be 10th in the country. That's awesome. I know Brett McAvoy's done a great job. We've had some young kids up front, and with the addition of Mike Abraze in the secondary, he's also done a nice job there as well. And then offensively, Chris and Tony have done an outstanding job, and not to mention the offensive line's done well too. And Jeff Perez was recognized for his performance last week. So again, it's been a great mix of the youth and the in the old, and again, we talked about the facilities. I mean, we've had more recruits up here this year than before, and this was the first year we were able to kind of, things were laid out nicely. We didn't have to move from one spot to another. It just, things have been clicking since camp, and I kind of, my wife kind of asked me how things are going in camp. I thought this could be a special year with a special group of kids, and so far, it's coming through.
Now you guys have a long road trip this weekend to play Maine Maritime. Last couple seasons we played them very high-scoring games, back-and-forth shootouts. What do you expect this week against an academy team that runs a lot of options and running plays and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, Maine's a very, very tough ball club. I mean, they're going to run the triple option. They're foot to foot. I mean, they compact it. They try to wear you down, that you make a mistake and not be responsible. Coach Sullivan's done a great job with Coach Potvin and Coach Stan, the defensive side of the ball, to get these guys prepared. They've really broken it down. They've gone split lines the whole week of practice. Yes, in the past they've had a couple of high-scoring games, but I think last year was more like a 17-8 game. So again, hopefully, they're 1-6, but you need to look beyond that record. Their one win was a quality win against Maine Maritime, who's 4-4 in the state school league. They're very disciplined. Again, a little snake bitten. They were beating Curry, the team that we had to come back on. They were beating them the whole game, and Curry ended up having like a last-minute touchdown to win by 1. And they've battled the same teams that we have, maybe even closer. I mean, you just talked about our offense and all the points and everything they've been doing. Well, they've scored more than us, so against a lot of the same opponents. So we need to be ready both offensively, defensively, and special teams. To me, they have one of the best linebackers in the league, and Chapman, number 4, he's outstanding. He can, at 6 foot 225. I mean, he can run, he can stop, he can take on a tackler or a lineman and drop back about 20 yards in about 2 seconds. So very versatile team defensively. Some senior leadership up there. And again, as you mentioned before, for us, it's a 4.5, 5 hour bus ride to get up there. So, like we've stressed before, we need to be mentally tough to take on this team up in Maine this weekend.
Lastly, a lot of coaches will tell you that in order to win a game, you just need to play your game and stay within yourselves and to control the things that you can control, and that's all you worry about. Is that really true with a team, especially now that's winning? Is it easier to do that and get that message across than with a team that might be, say, 1-7? Did the kids really buy into that, hey, if we just play our game, we're going to be fine?
I think so. I think that's a fair statement. Again, watching the films, even though we weren't successful early in the half of the season, we did play some good quality teams. They did see some good things happen, and they did a nice job of focusing on the positives during the tough times, and I think that really is helping them now. And as we stated before, for us, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to be focused. We have to do a better job being disciplined. We still lead the league in penalties, and that's unacceptable. So again, we play a team that is disciplined. Having to do an overnight, you better be mentally tough. You're going to be in for a long day.
Game starts at noon up in Maine. Video feed will be available on nicholsathletics.com. Coach, have a safe trip. Good luck.
All right, thank you.